You're listening to the Spend 10K a Day podcast, brought to you by the performance marketing experts at MuteSix. This is your source for cutting-edge insight into the world of online advertising from the team with more Facebook case studies in 2016 than any other agency on the planet. Here are your hosts, Steve Weiss and Stuart Anderson.
Cool, guys. Welcome to the Spend 10K a Day podcast. We have an amazing guest today. We have Jordan from CartHook. I'll let Jordan introduce himself.
Sure. I'm the co-founder and CEO of CartHook, and we offer a one-page checkout and one-click upsell app for Shopify.
Yep. So as everyone knows, the most important thing is figuring out how do you generate the conversion rate over 3% on your traffic for each cohort. So, as a Facebook marketer, as a paid acquisition marketer, as an e-commerce marketer, I want to figure out how do I get the highest conversion rate on every piece of traffic I generate for my ads. Jordan's tool has allowed us and a lot of other people in the Shopify ecosystem to really, get a much higher conversion rate and allow us to really get ahead of the game. So I'm super excited to have you, man. Thanks for jumping on. Tell us a little more about yourself, your background, how you became an expert at CRO, et cetera, et cetera.
Sure. So I come from a classic immigrant entrepreneur household. So I kind of watched my father be an entrepreneur as soon as we came to this country. So I got bit with the bug real early. And a few years ago, my brothers and I started an e-commerce company. This was before Facebook ads. We drove traffic predominantly from AdWords, and we sold niche products that were hard to find on offline. So our most successful site sold solar lighting products. We had a store for hammocks, another store for electric fireplaces. So very niche category. We were kind of going along the hay needle model before they brought it all into one site. And in that experience, I was the person responsible for conversion. So one brother brought the traffic, I was in charge of conversion, and my younger brother was in charge of everything after the sale. So I basically spent a year just learning and implementing conversion rate optimization, and really all we wanted to do is get return on ad spend. So we started off with, for every $100 we get $200 in revenue, then for every 100 we got 300. Then we ended up somewhere in 5 to 1. So for every $100 we spent on an ad, we would get $500 in revenue. And then once that started working and clicking, then you're more comfortable spending money on ads, and then you make more money, and then you spend more money on ads, and so forth.
Back in the day, back then, tell us a little more about some of the tactics or the tricks that you would use to optimize your funnel. I'm always very fascinated. I'm more of a paid acquisition type guy background, not a CRO background. So excited to hear some of your thoughts on that.
Yeah, what we found is that we needed to get everything lined up. And what I mean by that is we had to get the right ad with the right landing page that came after the ad, with the right product, the right pictures, the right offer, and then the right checkout process. And then once everything worked each step of the way, the return on ad spend and the conversion rate got up to where we wanted to be. So we had to keep playing around. And so the biggest thing we did is we listened to customers, because not only did they tell us what they wanted and what products they were looking for, they told us what problems they were actually trying to solve. So our best-selling product was a solar flag light. Okay, I'm from New York. I don't know what they were talking about, but a lot of people out in the country have a flag. It's very far away from their house, and the code for the flag is that it stays lit at night, or you bring it home. So I didn't know this, and I would never have known it unless I listened to people asking us, "Hey, will this solar light reach my flag?" And we were like, "What are you talking about?" Eventually, we heard it so often we understood, oh, there's a market there. So we took what we heard from phone calls and live chat and then built out a category specifically for solar flag lights and addressed their needs in the bullet points at the very top of the product page, saying it'll reach 20 feet, it'll last all night long, all these things. And not surprisingly, that's when sales started taking off. Then we went further up the line, up the funnel, and made sure that our ads spoke directly to people who were looking for solar flag lights. Then the page that they hit was right for them, optimized the checkout process with a bunch of trust symbols, remove navigation, and so forth. And then that's how things started to get lined up, and then we could pour money into the ad spend.
That's an awesome point. Like literally, that's the first thing we do when we launch ads is we read the comments of what people are saying from our ads. I don't think there's enough conversion rate optimization is not as scientific as everyone makes it out to be. And I think that's the thing I want to dispel on this podcast is that you don't have to be a super technical human being to optimize your landing pages.
So you have to think about if right. The analogy is offline. When you come into a store and you're looking to buy a stereo, you have questions. If you don't answer my questions, I walk out of the store without buying. It's the same thing online. You need to provide someone with the information they need in order to make a buying decision. And so as you test things out, as you test the page, as you test the ads, you need to make sure that people have what they need before they make a buying decision. And then you need to gain enough trust for them to pull out their credit card. Yep. Yes, there's all these different pieces, like reviews will help you. A great about page with pictures making things feel like a real company, that will help you. So all these individual pieces contribute and improve things. It's a process. It's not just nailing it off the bat. If you expect to be profitable with paid ads on one specific campaign right off the bat, you will most likely be disappointed.
So what are the ways that an e-commerce site who is not an expert at conversion rate optimization can best listen to their customers? Obviously what we do is we read the comments of all of our ads. Sometimes we'll call up past customers, but in your opinion, if you really want to dig deep and really figure out why people are converting, why they aren't converting, what would you say are the top 5 ways you can listen to your customer?
The single best way that we found was talking to people on the phone. It sounds old school and might be annoying, but at first, there's nothing better than actually talking to people on the phone. So I think that's the number one way. If you want to learn fast what your customers want, what they don't want, and why they want to buy your product to begin with, getting your phone number up on the page and getting people on the phone, you learn more that way than any other way. The second is live chat. And live chat, I see it as serving 2 functions. Not only do people ask questions, and oftentimes as soon as you hear a question more than once, the answer to that should probably be somewhere on the page. The second thing that live chat does is it shows you what page people are on. And ideally it shows you the path that they took, and you learn things from that. So for example, one of the things that we learned was that we weren't building enough trust. So we'd see people go from the product page to the cart, and then they'd go to the about page, basically saying, who the hell am I about to buy a solar light for $150 from? And then they'd leave. And so what do? We optimized the About Us page and made it look like a trustworthy company with pictures of ourselves and a pledge and testimonials. And then we'd see people go to the About page and then back to the cart and then into the checkout. So there's different points. So live chat's good, the phone's good, checking out what your competition's doing, reading comments.
Facebook comments. Interesting. No, this is what goes into scaling a Facebook ad. Our whole podcast, we always talk about what goes into spending, $5, $10, $15, $25,000 a day besides having a great product. And I think this is what, in my opinion, the most important element of Facebook ads is your conversion rate optimization, understanding the expectations of your users once they come to your website. And I think you've done an amazing job, Jordan, of explaining that on this podcast. Number 2, tell us a little more about CartHook. I'd love to, share a little bit more intel with our readers. What was your inspiration behind the product? What pain point did you solve? And then lastly, how could, one of our podcast listeners actually integrate CartHook to really grow their conversion rate on their website?
Yeah, so we started in the right place, right? A few years ago, in that e-commerce experience, being the person responsible for conversion rate optimization, I spent a lot of time optimizing the checkout process. The cart page, the checkout page, the trust symbols, the testimonials, all these different pieces that contribute to a better conversion rate. Now, I was running CartHook, and our first product was a cart abandonment app. So we were selling a cart abandonment app for a while, and then what happened was, when we started to work with the Shopify platform, what we noticed was that you can't do anything with the checkout process. And given my experience and how much work I put into our checkout process, it did not make sense to me. This is the fastest growing, most popular platform, but you can't touch the most important page. So that was really the inspiration, and that's why we built a customizable one-page checkout, because I think one page is better. The truth is, I think the thumbprint is going to win overall, and eventually there won't be any fields by default on a checkout page. It'll just be which thumbprint device do you want to use. So that was the inspiration. And what happened from there is we listened to our customers. And what they told us was, this is great. We get to optimize our checkout page. It's all on one page. It looks good on mobile. I can put my logo and my testimonials and trust symbols. But I want to increase my average order value with one-click upsells.
Wow.
And one-click upsells, just to run through that concept really quick. Everyone's familiar with Amazon's pre-purchase upsells. That's you bought a boot. You have a boot in your cart. You might also like a pair of socks. That's pre-purchase because you haven't actually made the purchase yet. They're asking you to add something to the basket to increase your average order value. But what that does is it adds friction to the process. What post-purchase upsells do is it lets you buy the boot. It lets you bring it into the checkout page, put your information down, put your payment information, and hit buy. And then instead of sending you to the thank you page, you can set a sequence of offers based on what the person bought. So if your customer bought a boot and you said, ooh, along with the boot, I want to offer a pair of socks, after the checkout page, after they've already put in their payment info and hit buy, then they'll see an offer page. And for them to accept that offer, all they have to do is click yes. They don't have to re-enter their payment information.
Awesome.
So somewhere between 10 and 20% of your customers, after they buy, will say yes to your upsell offers, and that increases your average order value, which increases your return on ad spend, and then you can spend more on ads and make more money and spend more on ads and so on. So it's really, the inspiration came from a few years ago, and then it led into the checkout page and led into the upsells, and that's kind of why we've kind of grown very, very quickly.
And so some ways that we've iterated of measuring the power of a CartHook is looking inside of Facebook of your add-to-cart conversion rates. When you integrate an amazing tool like CartHook, which we've done for a number of our clients, is we see that the add-to-cart conversion rate automatically goes up once we're able to customize this checkout page. So obviously the big pain point when you run Facebook ads is you see all these people adding products to your shopping cart. But why is my added cart conversion rate 3, 4, 5%? They've already added it to the cart, right? So it's really frustrating.
Yeah. And you lose people each step of the way in that multi-step process. Now look, Shopify is a great platform. They have amazing resources. Their checkout, it works, and it works well everywhere. It works on mobile and so forth. But if you tweak it, you can improve the conversion. And then if you add upsells, you can increase the average order value and your ROI. And overall, it makes you more profitable.
Can you actually connect the offer on Facebook to a post-purchase upsell on CartHook? Have you had people positively connect that funnel together where you're coming in with this offer, you might see an ad for this, and then you see that offer pop up or something similar? I just want to understand how do people connect the CartHook experience to the Facebook ad?
Sure. So people use our product. We have two main features, two main ways that people use the product. So to connect it with an ad, so inside the Shopify store, the way people set up CartHook is they create upsell sequences that have a certain set of products being offered as upsells and downsells, and then that you're provided with a tag for that sequence of upsells. And then you take that tag and apply it to a product, to all your products, some of your products, or just one of your products. Ooh. And when somebody buys that product, they will see that specific set of upsells. So you can link it directly to, if someone buys X, I want them to see this specific set of upsells. Yep, so if someone buys a single unit, I want to connect them to an upsell into a subscription of that same product. So things like that. The second way, and this is kind of like an insight from what we see on our side. What we see is our biggest selling merchants, the ones that are doing $1 million a month and up. What they'll do is once they identify a winner, right? So they'll run Facebook ads and they'll run it to product pages on their Shopify store, and they'll find a winner. They'll say, this product works. What they'll do then is they'll do more work to get the conversion. And by that, I mean they will build a separate landing page just for that product. So it goes beyond just what you have in the Shopify product page. They'll do more work. They'll put video. They'll put testimonials. They'll put more information. They'll put graphics. They'll put diagrams. And they will increase their conversion rate doing that. Now, the way they use CartHook with that is we have something called a product funnel feature where you can link one specific product to a checkout page. So what you can do is you can run a Facebook ad to a landing page that then links over directly to a CartHook checkout and upsells, but the order still goes into your Shopify store. So your visitor never actually touches the Shopify store. They go from Facebook ad to landing page to CartHook checkout, CartHook upsells, CartHook thank you page, but the order still gets processed through your Shopify store, triggers all the apps and so on.
That's amazing. I didn't even know that feature existed. That's incredible.
Yeah, we don't do a good job of identifying it, which we should, and we will do more of it in the future.
Just so I'm clear.
But that's powerful.
Yeah, wow. I had no clue you could do that. Just so I'm clear. So how it works is, let's say I find a product, one of my 1,000 SKUs, I find an amazing product, and what I want to do is I want to run that product to its own specific landing page experience. I want to focus all my effort on selling this product. Well, then what I could do is on that checkout page, it's going to be a CartHook page, number one, even though it's not on my Shopify store. Then number two, I could attach a custom, upsell, post-purchase upsell to that specific landing page, and I could run 10 different landing pages, all with unique upsells, all through CartHook, correct?
Yes, and you can also customize each checkout page specific to that landing page. So you can have a testimonial of that product that you're selling, because the only people visiting this checkout page are the ones that hit the buy button on the landing page for that specific product. So you could keep doing work deeper and deeper into the funnel.
That's amazing. That's been a big pain point for a lot of our readers. We work with a lot of companies who have who work with subscription billing apps. Obviously, we've seen Recharge, Bold. They all have different subscription billing apps. So we love Recharge. We work really closely with them, as well as we work with Bold. But tell us, how do you integrate with all these other subscription billing apps on top of Shopify?
So subscription billing, we love Recharge. We've worked with them for many years on the cart abandonment side and now on the checkout side, and it's just a click of a button. It's just any of the pages in CartHook that are connected to an individual product, like let's say an upsell page, you just scroll down and hit a button that says turn this into a Recharge product. And then when that's bought, the first purchase will go through our product, and then we'll talk to Recharge through the API and say create a subscription for this product at this price.
Because that's been the biggest pain point that I've gotten, from talking to so many of our partners, is the ability with some of these subscription billing apps to customize that shopping cart experience. And, even like once they make a purchase, really create an experience where they're getting specific segments of emails based on their prior purchase behavior. Do you guys integrate with like Klaviyo or any of these other, ESPs?
We do. We integrate with Klaviyo for abandoned carts. And what we do differently is, because we have control of the checkout page, we capture the email address as soon as it's typed. So instead of waiting for the email for the visitor to go from step 1 to step 2 in the checkout process, as soon as they type it into the email field on the one-page checkout, we capture the email. And then if they don't complete the purchase, we send that email over to Klaviyo. We also send it over to our own cart abandonment app that we offer for free to anyone who uses our checkout. And anyone who uses Klaviyo can continue to use that. We also have an API with all the page events, so people can get that. You can even get the phone number sent into your Klaviyo account, and we're kind of developing this as people tell us what they want to see.
You're just throwing down knowledge bombs over there, Jordan. You're crushing it, man. So this is I didn't even know this existed. So let me get this straight. So I type my email in, and then let's say I don't type any of the other fields, and I just forget about it, and I just close the window. You're actually going to copy that email, even though I didn't finish anything, I didn't put in a pop-up, press submit. You're actually going to copy that email into a cart abandonment series, correct?
Yes. As soon as you tab out of the field, the email's captured. Wow,
that's huge. I don't know any other system that does. I mean, that's huge. I mean, passing that data back to Facebook, passing that data back to Klaviyo it's amazing.
Yep. You can connect it with Klaviyo. You connect it with your custom Facebook audience that you're retargeting based on their abandoned cart, and of course the email that goes out, it has the cart data of that visitor, so you can, in the email, it's showing the product that they abandoned with, and it's all kind of connected and makes sense the way it should.
So this is awesome, man. I think I learned a lot on this podcast, and I always think that I know everything, and I'm always wrong. I don't know anything. There's so much stuff that I learned from doing these podcasts. So number one, thanks so much, man, for taking the time out of your busy day. We love CartHook. You guys do an amazing work. But I got to ask you one question, man. What's going on in the future, man? Give us a sneak peek of what you guys are thinking about. What you guys are doing in the laboratory. We're all excited to hear what the future of CRO is, and kind of drop a couple more knowledge bombs. What can we do better as marketers?
Sure. So our philosophy is that the marketer knows better than we do, and that the technology should not be in the way of the marketer. So our whole ambition with this product is to just let the marketer and the merchant have control over everything. So everything we do is toward that. So we're launching a new editor in September. We're launching an updated admin, just more functionality. Everything is to try to hand over more and more control to the merchant. So right now we have a WYSIWYG editor. You can drag and drop stuff onto the checkout page. But we just want to keep going in that direction because we think that at least our audience, they're coming to us. They already know what they want to do.
Yeah.
It's just up to us. In terms of content and teaching, it's really kind of teaching what we're learning from the merchants. They're way ahead. They're just telling us, just let us do what we want to do. And so that's our whole philosophy, is just give control back over the most important pages on the site, back over to the merchant.
So if any of our listeners want to reach out to CartHook, tell us what's the best way to get in touch with you or someone on your team if they have questions, if they just want to chat with you about CRO, man. What's the best? How do they, besides seeing you in the Shopify App Store, obviously, how do they get a hold of someone on your team or an expert just like you?
Yeah, we're actually not in the App Store.
Oh, you're not? Okay.
Nope.
Good to know. Well, there you go. Good to know.
Yeah, that's right. So we're a private app that you have access to once you sign up. Best way is to just go to carthook.com/checkout. You find out more about the product. And our support team is amazing. We've kind of invested a lot in that, so they're really good about answering questions through the chat. And then you can reach out to me directly, just jordan@carthook.com, with any questions or just to say hi or partnerships or whatever. This is what I like to do, just talk and shop. So I'm open to people emailing.
Awesome, man. You crushed it. You probably have a ton of experience doing podcasts. I could tell, man. You're just nailing every single point. But
if you want to talk business, I have a podcast called Bootstrap Web. That's what I do regularly with my buddy, and that's kind of like trials and tribulations of the journey sort of thing. So
I knew you had some experience. I knew you were. But thanks, man, for taking the time out of your day. Once again, Jordan from CartHook joined us today on the Spend 10K a Day podcast. Steve Weiss, MuteSix.com. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to me, Steve at MuteSix, and Jordan at CartHook.
Cheers. Thanks so much.
Thanks.